If you've ever traveled abroad, you know there's one crucial document that is mandatory to travel. That document is known as a passport. Every country has one, and without one, you become very limited in how far you can go. Living without a passport limits you. It confines you to a specific location and limits your access to other countries. In fact, put another way, passports are the only way we have access to go places that we want to go. People who are far from friends and family are brought close to one another, all by way of this one document called a passport. Now, that's no news to most of you because that's how it works in our world. But when we take a moment to consider the fact that we too were far from God, strangers and foreigners to Him, it makes you wonder how in the world we were able to be brought close to such a holy and perfect God. I'm getting ready to share with you one of my absolute favorite verses that perfectly explains how we, as sinners, are brought close to Him. Paul says in Ephesians 2:18, "For through Him we both have access to the Father by one Spirit. Consequently, you are no longer foreigners and strangers, but fellow citizens with God's people and also members of His household." Through Him, we have access and become citizens in the household of God, all because Jesus. Due to our relationship with Jesus, those of us who were far from God get to become citizens with God's holy people. To be a citizen of God's household should be the ultimate goal of every person, because the truth is, because of our sin, we were once foreigners of that household with no way in. But through Christ, all of us have access to be welcomed in as holy citizens. This is the good news. Passports aren't good enough to get you into heaven. They do us no good there. There's only one way we become citizens. It's through Jesus. Here's why this is good news for me. If I'm being honest with y'all, I was far from God. I don't know where everyone else stood, but in my mind, I just felt like I was like the furthest away from Him. At least I felt like I was. You see, when I was 18 or 19 years old, my personal sin and addiction had gotten so overwhelming to me. I thought I'd never be able to have access to this holy and perfect God. Y'all, I was far. And if you've ever been where I was, you know the only thing you want when you're far is to become close. Close to God and close to His people. And I was able to be drawn close because God loved me too much to let me stay far with no access. I don't know where this message finds you today, but for those of you who feel far from God with no hope, I want to encourage you. You have access to be close. And that access is by way of Jesus. If that's you today, will you do me a favor and just put in the chat below, "I want to be close," so that we can personally pray for you? Because no matter how far you may feel, Jesus wants to meet you right where you are and bring you close.